Hello and welcome to the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9 FM. Today it's a conversation with the COO and co-owner of a privately owned Connecticut company called Assisted Living Services. And as you just heard, with me today on the phone is Mario D'Aquila from Assisted Living Services. In fact, he's the Chief Operations Officer and co-owner. Good to have you with us today, Mario.
Thank you for having me today, Neil.
Absolutely. Well, could you perhaps tell us about Assisted Living Home Care Services? What is it?
Sure. Our company, Assisted Living Home Care Services, we are a non-medical home care agency, otherwise known as a homemaker companion agency. We were founded in 1996, and we provide care to thousands of seniors and people of all ages with varying disabilities throughout the state of Connecticut. We actually have 3 offices. We have an office in Westport, Connecticut, an office in Cheshire, and an office in Putnam, Connecticut as well.
All right. Well, what are some of the warning signs for people who might need the services that you provide? Warning signs that may indicate an elderly person needs some additional help around the house or some increased care.
So there are a few warning signs that can either happen over time or they can happen sort of acutely, immediately. And, it's really helpful to keep an eye out for these things, especially when you're visiting an elderly loved one or a senior loved one. Number one, forgetfulness and confusion. So if your aging loved one is generally pretty sharp, visiting, having conversations and knowing where things are, if they're beginning to be a little more forgetful or seem a little confused, placing things in the wrong areas of the house or just generally confused about things like dates, current events, who you are, who your kids are, things like that, that can be a warning sign right there that you want to start looking for some resources to assist with. Neglect of physical appearance or basic hygiene. So if you go over and your loved one is, a little more disheveled, maybe they're not bathing, maybe their dental hygiene they're not keeping up with, things like that. That's something that can really prompt you to need some extra care and extra help around the home for them.
Yeah.
Right. Neglecting medical needs. So maybe they're not going to the doctor, or, gee, I'm not taking my medication. I stopped taking that months ago. Stop filling this prescription. These are things that, can lead to adverse health problems. Trouble performing routine tasks or chores throughout the home. You're walking throughout the house, the dishes are stacking up, or, the house looks cluttered, doesn't look as it was before. And, a clean home is really important, right? Not only for just health and cleanliness, but to reduce trip hazards, right?
Yeah.
Things are, kind of stacking up on the ground.
Yep.
It can lead to a trip hazard, which is dangerous, particularly for seniors. Things like personality changes. If your grandma or grandpa or mom or dad is generally very talkative, very outgoing.
Yep.
And then, suddenly their personality changes. Maybe they're not as talkative, they're reserved. It just really changes their, personality. That can be something to keep an eye out for. Maybe they are just now hard of hearing, or maybe they are developing some different changes in their cognition, right? Where they need, visit a doctor to really, assist in diagnosing whatever's going on, right?
Yeah.
Inability to handle finances or pay bills. If the collection agency is calling because the bills aren't paid, well, that's a huge problem, right? And maybe that's just they're forgetful, or maybe they're just needing help to get those bills paid, right? And then lastly, unsteadiness or clumsiness or a recent history of falling, right? That's particularly dangerous for seniors, because once they fall once, they're more than twice as likely to fall again within the first year that fall happens, because people get sedentary when they fall.
Yeah.
They're worried. They don't want to fall again.
Right.
That can lead to more falls, right? So those are some warning signs, right, to keep an eye out for and start reaching out for resources.
All right. Well, those are good to know. What are some of the services that your caregivers provide for an elderly client?
So through non-medical home care services, we can provide assistance with bathing, hygiene, dressing,
Yep.
grooming, medication reminders, reminding to take their daily medications or their medications as needed,
Yep.
transferring and mobility around the home,
Mm-hmm.
safely, meal preparation, light housekeeping, potentially some assistance with incontinence care, some homemaking, and really importantly, companionship as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And along with safety monitoring.
Mm-hmm. Well, suppose someone is dealing with some of those warning signs and such and feels that your company there could be of help to them. Where does a family start if they decide that senior care, in fact, is needed?
So I think it's really important that folks know where these resources are and to start looking sooner than later. Because when something happens, maybe it's a health episode, maybe it's a fall, people get kind of thrown into a world of turmoil, wondering how to get this help. So every state has a local social service department. So in Connecticut, it's called the Department of Social Services. They have a whole host of resources on their website on how to get some assistance with, home care and senior care needs, and they have a lot of information. Your local senior center, great host of knowledge that the folks working in that senior center have on senior care, and they could best kind of assist with, different home care agencies or different senior care options as well.
Now, are you tied in any way with the state of Connecticut with these things, or does the state ever refer people to you? Is there any connection there, or are you a completely private entity? You have nothing to do with the state?
Yeah, so although we are a private entity, we're family owned and operated, we do contract with the Department of Social Services for their Medicaid waiver programs, which is really great because a lot of our clients start with us maybe paying out of pocket, private pay for our services.
Yeah.
But when they begin to spend down, their assets, they may qualify for Medicaid waiver services. And the great benefit in that is that once they qualify for those Medicaid waiver services, our company does contract to provide care for those clients on the Medicaid waiver services, and they can continue to get that care provided to them. And it'll be funded by Medicaid, essentially.
Well, where would you suggest listeners go for more information on that? Are there any particular websites or your website or anything of that sort?
I think our website has a copious amount of information when it comes to not just home care, but senior care as well. We also have a lot of different pieces of information on the website that tell about funding and different links to some of the different funding sources that I spoke about today. So our website is www.assistedlivingct.com. And we actually have a technology subsidiary as well that we have all different kinds of home care, senior care devices and things like medical alerts and medication management systems and different things such as that. And that website is assistedlivingtechnologies.com. And, if you don't want to go on the web, you can always give us a call. We have plenty of home care consultants and folks here that have lots of resources to share. And our number is 203-634-8668.
All right, some great, valuable information there. Mario D'Aquila from Assisted Living Services, thanks for your time once again.
Thank you for having me today.
You've been listening to a conversation with Mario D'Aquila, COO and co-owner of Assisted Living Services. You can find out more at assistedlivingct.com or assistedlivingtechnologies.com for senior device equipment. The WIHS Journal is public affairs from 104.9 WIHS.